Welcome back to the Money Compendium. Today, we're breaking down the hidden psychology and time-tested strategies behind real wealth. Here, we don't chase hype or overnight miracles. We uncover the patterns, research, and real-world examples that explain how money actually works. Today's topic is how to become a millionaire by 40, or even sooner. Becoming a millionaire by 40 isn't magic. It's psychology, strategy, and consistent action. Everything I'm sharing comes from three sources: research in psychology, insights gathered from top financial thinkers, and clear patterns you can observe in the real world. Later in this video, I'll show you how a single strategy like this could save someone thousands. But first, let's talk about why most people never get rich by wages alone. Say you earn $70,000 a year. That salary grows linearly. The more hours you work, the more you make. But that also means your income is chained to your time. If you quit, get sick, or are laid off, that stream stops cold. From a psychological perspective, that kind of dependency creates chronic stress and limits your willingness to take risks. Now imagine you set up a small income stream that runs on autopilot, like a digital course, a rental unit, or dividend-paying stocks. Even a modest $1,000 a month changes your mental state. Reliable backup income dramatically reduces stress and boosts motivation. It's not just money, it's peace of mind. That freedom lets you experiment, pivot, and pursue bigger opportunities. Instead of clinging to your paycheck, you can think strategically about your future. This is called cognitive bandwidth. When your survival isn't threatened, your brain has space to solve higher-level problems. Next, we need to have a being the first mentality. It's about breaking problems down to their basic truths rather than accepting the way it's always been done. Humans have a built-in bias that urges us to follow the status quo, that keeps us loyal to familiar paths even when they're outdated. Say you're launching a small business and everyone tells you you have to open a brick-and-mortar store, but when you strip the problem to fundamentals, product, audience, distribution, you might discover that an online shop paired with micro-influencer marketing is faster, cheaper, and more effective. By questioning assumptions, you unlock options others never see. This kind of thinking disrupts conventional limits and leads to extraordinary outcomes. Moments like these require resistance to conformity. People are wired to stick to group norms, even when they suspect a better path exists. Developing the habit of asking what if, or why not, can separate you from the average. Think about the most daring innovations in history. Someone once believed rockets could be reusable and travel to Mars. That was Elon Musk. Decades earlier, two brothers in a bicycle shop bent a piece of aluminum and proved humans could fly. That was Orville and Wilbur Wright. Extraordinary results rarely come from ordinary actions. The world doesn't hand out rewards to people or brands that simply repeat more of the same. These first two steps, building non-linear income and challenging defaults, are the foundation. They free your mind, expand your choices, and put you on a path where wealth creation becomes a deliberate psychological game, not a desperate scramble for more hours. The next principle is about how leveraging other people's strengths can multiply your results far beyond what hard work and self-reliance can achieve. This relates to distributed cognition, the idea that human thinking becomes exponentially more powerful when shared across a network of minds. Trying to do everything yourself may feel safe, but in practice, it limits growth and creates blind spots. Imagine you're running a small e-commerce store and you hit a wall with taxes, advertising, or supply chain issues. You could spend weeks Googling answers, burning hours and mental energy, and still miss crucial details. Or you could spend $200 for a one-hour consultation with a specialist who solves the problem and reveals strategies you didn't even know existed, saving you tens of thousands in potential losses. This is called cognitive offloading. Outsourcing complex tasks so your brain can focus on higher-level decision-making. Here's another scenario. Say you're developing an app. You're great at big-picture vision but weak in user interface design. Instead of hacking together a clunky layout, you bring in a designer whose entire career revolves around understanding user behavior. The result isn't just a prettier app, it's a more engaging product. Industrial organizational psychology shows that teams leveraging complementary strengths consistently outperform equally skilled individuals working in isolation. And this isn't just about technical skill. There's a concept called informational social influence. People in different networks often hold unique knowledge you can't access on your own. By stepping into rooms where you're not the smartest person, you expose yourself to perspectives that expand your worldview and income potential. There's a reason the saying goes, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Ego and fear can stop you from asking for help because humans evolved to signal competence, so admitting weaknesses feels risky. Yet, seeking advice actually increases others' perception of your competence because it signals humility and a growth mindset. The most successful people aren't the ones who hoard control. They're the ones who build alliances. Now, let's connect this to the concept of the slight edge, based on a book written by motivational speaker Jeff Olson. The idea is simple but profound. Tiny, consistent actions, whether positive or negative, compound over time to produce massive differences in outcome. Picture two people. One invests just $10 a day and keeps learning from mentors, while the other postpones investing and tries to figure everything out solo. In 10 years, the first person's network and net worth are miles ahead, not because of one big leap, but because of daily micro-decisions compounded by shared knowledge. Our brains underestimate compounding effects. We're wired to notice immediate rewards and ignore gradual progress. By intentionally stacking small advantages, learning from experts, collaborating with people who fill your knowledge gaps, and making slightly better choices each day, you build momentum that feels subtle at first, but cascades into something incredible. Leveraging others' strengths isn't weakness, it's strategic. Pair it with the discipline of the slight edge, and you transform from someone working harder than ever to someone whose effort multiplies through networks, habits, and time. This is how millionaires are built. Not overnight, but through the quiet, deliberate compounding of smart choices. Now, let's explore a classic thought experiment in compounding. One that perfectly illustrates how our brains often misjudge exponential growth. Imagine two people faced with a choice. The first option, receive a flat $1 million at the start of the month. The second option, start with a single penny that doubles in value every day for 30 days. On the surface, the $1 million check seems like the obvious pick. It's quick, certain, and psychologically reassuring. But run the math. By day 30, that penny has grown to over $5.3 million. This highlights a well-documented cognitive bias. Humans consistently underestimate exponential growth. Social cognition studies show that our brains are wired for linear thinking. We're comfortable with steady progress, like earning a fixed paycheck, but we struggle to imagine how small actions can explode over time. Say you're working on a side hustle that earns only $50 a month. It feels insignificant, maybe even pointless. But if you improve it by just 10% each month through better marketing, skill upgrades, or small optimizations, that side hustle can multiply faster than you expect. 10 months later, it's nearly doubled. 2 years later, you could be earning thousands. The penny parable isn't about coins, it's about compounding behaviors, investments, and habits that seem trivial today but shape your financial future. Habits repeated daily become part of your identity and influence decision-making without requiring willpower. The tiny, uncomfortable actions you take today, saving a small amount, learning a skill, or making a tough call, rewire your behavior. Over time, those actions don't just create results, they make success feel natural. Now let's connect this to finding your money-making superpower. Say you grew up in a family that ran a small business. Even without formal training, you've absorbed years of knowledge about customer service and operations. That's a superpower. Or maybe you've been tinkering with graphic design as a hobby. That creative skill can be monetized in countless ways. Passions, environment, and learned skills all contain hidden advantages. People often undervalue their own expertise because it feels normal to them. What seems obvious to you may be extraordinary to others. The key is to identify strengths rooted in your background, experiences, or interests and lean into them. This could mean turning your knack for organizing into a consulting service, or your childhood fascination with coding into a freelance business. When you work in alignment with your strengths and passions, your brain releases dopamine and other neurotransmitters that increase focus and persistence. That positive feedback loop makes you more resilient through challenges. Compounding and your superpower work hand in hand. Start small, act consistently, and apply your natural advantages. Over months and years, the growth feels almost magical, but it isn't magic. It's the predictable outcome of psychology, strategy, and time working in your favor. The truth is, even when you've identified your money-making superpower, wealth doesn't stick if your spending habits sabotage you. Research on lifestyle inflation shows that as income rises, people often increase their spending just to keep up with peers or soothe emotional triggers. Over time, this creates a treadmill effect. You work harder, but your financial position doesn't improve. Say someone earns $50K a year and suddenly gets a raise to $70K. At first, it feels like a breakthrough, but instead of investing the difference, they upgrade to a pricier apartment, trade in their car for a new lease, and splurge on more dinners out. Within months, their budget feels just as tight as before. In psychology, this is known as hedonic adaptation. Our satisfaction and lifestyle quickly adjust, and we chase the next upgrade. Now picture a different approach. Another person earns the same raise but keeps their lifestyle steady for a year or two. They funnel that extra $20K into index funds, a side business, or paying down high-interest debt. 10 years later, those investments have compounded into something life-changing. Living below your means isn't about deprivation, it's about choice. Financial stress is one of the top causes of workplace burnout. By controlling your lifestyle costs, you reduce pressure, increase mental flexibility, and position yourself to seize opportunities when they appear. Humans are wired for social comparison. When peers post vacation photos or unbox the latest gadgets, it triggers a fear of missing out. But understanding this bias can help you resist it. Studies show that practicing gratitude and setting long-term goals reduces the emotional pull of keeping up appearances. Our brains also reward short-term pleasure with dopamine. But as research on delayed gratification shows, those who can resist immediate rewards often achieve far greater success. Choosing to invest rather than spend is essentially rewiring your reward system for long-term wins. It doesn't mean you should never spend on experiences or enjoyment. But strategic sacrifice pays off, and the earlier you start, the better the results. Skipping a flashy purchase today can translate into assets tomorrow. Assets that will fund a lifestyle you don't have to worry about maintaining. Think of your spending decisions as votes for your future self. Every dollar can either buy a fleeting moment of status or build a foundation for lasting freedom. By leaning into your strengths, keeping lifestyle creep in check, and letting compounding work quietly in the background, you're not just earning more, you're creating a system where your money starts working harder than you do. That's how ordinary people build extraordinary futures. Not through luck or giant windfalls, but through deliberate choices, disciplined habits, and a willingness to delay gratification today for far greater rewards tomorrow. If you made it this far, you must have enjoyed the video, so please, consider subscribing to the Money Compendium for more strategies that turn psychology into profit. Hit the like button if this helped clarify your next financial move and share it with someone who needs it. We appreciate the support. Now, before you go, I want to know, which of these principles, building non-linear income, questioning defaults, leveraging others' strengths, compounding your superpower, or living below your means, do you think will make the biggest difference in your own journey? Drop your answer in the comments.